Hello, I'm Richard Vobes, the Bald Explorer. Today it's raining outside, so I thought I'd do something a little bit different. Now, I don't know if you've been watching my series of My Story, and I've told you about some of the early films that I was making when I was shooting in 16mm. And I made a series of different types of things. We set up a club called the Sussex Filmmakers. We set up, we were approached by Tarmac Roadstone to make a safety film. I made a pilot for the Snug and Cozi television series. And prior to that, I had a little children's TV series which was linking cartoons on the Services Sound and Vision Corporation. Well, one of my viewers, Paul Rampton, who had helped me out by transferring a Super 8mm film onto video about my character Arnold, and I spoke about that. He also does VHS transfers, and I said, well, it's interesting you should say that, because I had a number of copies of some of the footage and the end results of the 16mm stuff that we'd shot on VHS, and there was no way that I could get it off here onto digital because I didn't have a capture card or the setup. And he said, well, I can do that for you. And I said, that's brilliant, because what I would love to do is to be able to put that work online so people can see it. So before I do that, I wanted to do a video in which I just explain what it is and why the footage is in the state that it is, and so on and so forth. So yes, so I have here, let's go in order. I'm going to show you little excerpts from this work over a different period of time. So in the late 1980s, I worked, you may remember I told you in My Story, for the Services Sound and Vision Corporation, which was part of the BFBS, which is the British Forces broadcast service. I made this kids program, Percy Peeverley's World of Cartoons. And we did 3 series. One of them ended up on a pier. And he was really a character in a mask and a wig, linking cartoons, really. And it was broadcast in Germany and Cyprus for the British Forces. And stumbled across an old tape from then. The quality isn't very good. This is a little compilation, and this is part of that compilation. It's just set to music of this little character that I'd made up, and we did. It's all a bit crude, there wasn't a lot of money, but have a look. So that was Percy Peeverley in his world of cartoons and the crazy antics that he used to get up to. You can see that I was always a bit of a clown. So that was great. We set up the Sussex Film Company, and we tried to make this video, this 16mm film called A Cry for Help, which was a ghost film. And it never got finished, and I still have the rushes on 16mm somewhere. And at some point, I must have taken a VHS camera, set up my projector and screen, and filmed some of the rushes because I couldn't access the rushes so easily without setting up a projector. What I'm going to show you now is some excerpts from those rushes. You'll hear the projector. This was a ghost film that was set in the present day. We started to film this around 1992, I think it was. And the premise was that a chap had moved into a house and he kept hearing this little girl calling for help. And it turned out that his house had been bombed during the war. And this was the ghost of the little girl who had been trapped in the house. She had died and her ghost was still there. And he was desperate to work out what was going on. He thought at first he was going mad. We filmed some scenes, flashback scenes that he kept having back in the 1940s. And up until recently, I'd forgotten we'd even filmed these. I had recollection for some of them. I mean, I was the director and the writer, and I'd forgotten that we'd filmed these scenes, but it was incredible. So incredible that we'd got this organisation together, really. And there we were with hoses and houses that looked like they had been bombed in the war, reactions to it. We went into a house that had actually burnt down, and we filmed at night the sequence in which he, the hero of the film, finds the little girl who is trapped. We also go to Tangmere Museum, where he talks to an expert about the Second World War. And he even goes to a doctor because he thinks he's going mad. We filmed all these different little sequences, and at some point I need to transfer the 16mm footage onto digital so that I could perhaps finish that film, or at least cobble together in better quality. So unfortunately these are all on VHS, so as you can see the quality is a bit ropey. But the 16mm, I remember when we projected it looked amazing. But that was, that was great fun. Amazing, I think now, that I managed to organise so many people together. This is sort of pre-internet days, and we actually just went out and filmed this stuff, rented the film stuff and got lights. I'm staggered. So I'm very proud of what the team all did, and I'd love to finish that film to be able to show it off at some point. So that was the cry for help. On the basis of doing that, we were approached by a chap from Tarmac. Now there's a quarry nearby, and I've spoken about the whole story of this, and so we were asked to make this public safety film, and I'm going to show you an excerpt from it in a second, and then later on I will upload these so you'll actually be able to watch the whole thing, even though the quality is a bit ropey because this is the VHS version and not the 16mm version, which is a shame because I would love to show you the really high quality version, but it is what it is. Before we went and started filming and before we wrote the script, we went on a recce of the place and had a look round, where there's a very young version of me with hair and these great big old glasses that I used to wear. Have a look.
What you want to do, I would stop on it, kneel on it, and then
Stand up.
and it starts running because it does jerk a bit, doesn't it?
And then I'll get a shot of what it's like riding on it. Camera's POV. I cannot believe When I look at those images of myself, I can't believe that that is really me, but clearly it is. And anyway, that was the recce. We then went on and got the team back together again, the crew. We got the two boys, the actors, and we had the fire brigade, the police underwater unit, an ambulance standing by, and we actually went and shot it. And I'll link to the My Stories that tell you in more detail about what it is. But here's a little excerpt from the final film. Bear in mind that this is still the VHS version and not the full quality, but it'll give you an idea.
Quarries, like this, are important for extracting the raw materials for the building and road construction industries. This is a sand quarry. You might think of sand as coming from the beach or the seaside, but there are areas all over the country where large deposits of sand can be found. This is a quarry pond. It may look peaceful and serene, but it is an extremely dangerous place to play. Regardless of your ability to swim, the cold temperature of the water can cause cramp, or worse, hypothermia. And who knows what hazardous objects have found their way to the bottom of the pond. Darren is in trouble. Fortunately for the boys, the site security called the emergency services. But no rescue is straightforward, especially with silt. With time against them, the firemen have to improvise with what equipment they have on board. And as with most life and death situations, there's an element of risk, not only for the victim, but for the rescuer as well.
So that was Playground of Danger, and the idea, of course, was to take that round the schools to try and dissuade kids from playing in quarries. I never really heard back, actually, how successful it was. We didn't make any money out of it. It was a great thing to do, and we had a lot of fun. Finally, I want to show you excerpts from the Snug and Cozi pilot, which we made in 1994. And as a result of this pilot, we got the TV series, which I'm telling you in the My Story series, about the trials and tribulations and behind the scenes of how a television series, or our television series, went, and the attitude of the television companies to us. But this was the pilot that we made. Again, this is on VHS. It was shot on 16mm. The quality here is, again, just as ropey. We shot the whole thing mute. Everything, all the sound and audio had to be recreated afterwards. I'm going to show you the opening scene because in the final TV series, they used some of the bits that we'd actually filmed in the opening credits, in the title sequence. So I'll show you that, and then I'll spin forward and show you a typical sort of Snug and Cozi type scenario that we wanted to get across. So I hope you'll enjoy that.
You are watching the daredevil adventures of two of the most crazy space travelers in the known universe. Snug and Cozi.
What's going on then? What's the matter with the blooming thing? I don't know. Can't you sort it out? What the dickens?
And it was full of nonsense and stuff, and of course it was the pilot, so nothing was fully together. And I had hoped that, given the opportunity with the television people who I thought would know a lot more about filmmaking than I did, we would have a cracking series. Well, if you listen to the My Story version of the final TV series that went out in 1996 and 1997, you'll hear really how disappointed I was with how television approached things and some of the issues and problems that we had. But anyway, I wanted to show you some of that early work I'd been talking about. There were some clips. I will in time get those uploaded, and I'll let you know when they are, and you'll be able to watch the whole thing should you want to. But anyway, thanks so much for watching this. It's still raining outside, so I'm going to make myself a cup of coffee and put my feet up. Thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you out and about on another video very soon. Bye bye for now. Bye bye.